Hey, it's Wine
Woohoo!
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, happy wine happy hour across the country. Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Hillside Winery people, because we are live cross platform today, but also on Hillside Winery Facebook page. So, to all of the Hillside Winery people, wine club members, or just Hillside Winery wine lovers, a great afternoon to all of you. It is 5 o'clock here in the Okanagan. It's now 8 o'clock in the Eastern time zone. So welcome to all the Canadian wine lovers for our weekly happy hour, Wednesday wine happy hour show. This is Hillside Winery Weeks here at Carl's Wine Club. So cheers to you, Mira Boucher.
Cheers, Carl. And guess what? I'm pretty sure we can see Hillside from our house here. So, like behind you, behind that tree, I'm pretty sure behind that tree is where Hillside is. Because that's
Anyway, if I go right there,
yeah,
I can see it.
kind of
I can totally see it.
under the leaves of that tree there, right there.
Well, it's a very special. It's a very special building, eh? So like I don't think it's like 36 feet high. So from here in Summerland, we're in Trout Creek,
This is it
so
here.
we can see the whole bench and the building. Boom, we can see it from here. So what's in your glass, Mira Boucher? Because we have something pretty special here. So one of our family's favorite. We have the Muscat Ottonel.
Yes.
And not only any of the Muscat Ottonel, but my absolute favorite, it's the 2020 vintage of the Muscat Ottonel by Hillside. My favorite vintage so far. I think I've tasted 5 or 6 vintage of the Ottonel, and this one, it's absolutely off the chart. Give it a 92 point. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
That's amazing. Cheers,
What
Daryl.
What a beautiful
Cheers
note.
from Calgary.
There you go. So did you have a sip so far?
I did, and I love it as usual.
Yeah. Did the length. I think it's really priming right now. Like the texture is beautiful. I get crunchy ginger. So much ginger in it. It's fresh. There's a spice. It's beautiful fruit. So I love that wine. So amazing show today. Beautiful weather, by the way. I think there's a thunderstorm watch a little later on, but right now, beautiful, beautiful evening here in Summerland. We want to say hi to all of our members across the country. We have Daryl here from Ontario are listening, a bunch of people from Calgary, and all of our members across Alberta, people from the island all the way to Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Canadian wine lovers, this is a great week because we're going to talk single vineyard wine. We're going to talk sub-GI, Naramata Bench. We're going to talk as well history of the bench, because we have one of the first of many things in our Canadian wine industry all the way back in the 70s. So this is a great week to chat wine and to chat what happened at the very beginning and why our wine business is at the level we are today, because Hillside Estate was part of that. And we have a great lineup to talk about. And also, we have someone special who's going to join us today. Who's joining us, Mira?
Well, Lauren Selfridge, the wine club manager at Hillside, is going to stop by. And also Kathy Malone, the one and only, one of the most kind of veteran experienced winemakers on the bench. I think she started out at Mission Hill?
Mission Hill for a long time. But she's been working with the bench fruit for many, many, many years. And there's a line on the Hillside website. I think it's Naramata Bench, raised and grown.
Grown and
raised. I love it because they are 100% Naramata Bench fruits. A bunch of them are estate fruits, but they also get fruits from some very, very, very specific grower from the bench, and all of the grapes is 100% Naramata Bench, sub-GI. And I know that your research lead you to the sub-GI was awarded for the Naramata Bench, in 2019?
I think so. It's fairly recent, yeah.
Yeah. So hi, Vicky from Ontario. Nice to see you. Cheers to you. We have 2020 Muscat Ottonel here in our glass, an absolute beauty.
So I tasted, Carl's maybe tried more vintages, but I tasted this one the first time 2 years ago, I think.
You got your first one was 2018. It's your third vintage of Ottonel that you have.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So at the start of the pandemic, and we were so excited because I am from Romania, and in Romania, they grow a lot of Muscat Ottonel. And I'd never had it after leaving Romania. My parents had never had it. So after leaving Romania. So when we stumbled upon Hillside growing it, we bought lots of it. We were so
It became the family wine, right? It became pretty quickly the flagship wine of the Boucher family, and yeah, we love it. We love it a lot. And before we welcome our special guest today, let me do a little welcome in French to all of our people. So un beau bonjour à tous les amateurs de vin canadiens, peu importe où ce que vous vous trouvez au pays, que ce soit à travers la belle province, la région de Québec, le Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, n'importe où en région, spécifiquement les cantons de l'Est, la belle région des vins de la province de Québec. Nos membres francophones du Nouveau-Brunswick, les communautés francophones de l'Ontario et du Manitoba, les amateurs de vins canadiens francophones, un beau mercredi. On vous souhaite la bienvenue. Cette semaine, c'est la semaine de Hillside Winery, un vignoble qui a été établi en 1984 sur le très fameux Naramata Bench. C'est à travers l'autre côté du lac, juste ici. Ça, c'est notre home office, notre bureau de la maison. Qu'est-ce que vous voyez derrière moi? En arrière du gros arbre, c'est le Naramata Bench. Il y a environ, présentement, je dirais une soixantaine de vignobles sur le bench. Hillside était un des premiers. Et puis, qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans notre verre aujourd'hui? C'est la Muscat Ottonel 2020. Un vin sensationnel, un vin d'été, c'est l'été dans un verre, c'est des pêches, c'est de la poire, mais aussi du gingembre, des épices. C'est absolument fantastique comme vin. Donc, ça, j'ai donné 92 points à ce vin-là. C'est notre vin familial depuis plusieurs années. C'est le vin de la famille. Notre go-to quand c'est en termes de vin blanc. Donc, on va parler cette semaine de Hillside parce qu'ils font des vins de sélection parcellaire absolument fantastiques, comme le Dickinson Merlot ici, qu'on va parler un petit peu plus tard, une Syrah fantastique, aussi le Mosaic, qui est le flagship wine de Hillside. J'ai Cathy Malone, qui est la winemaker à Hillside, qui va se joindre à nous dans quelques minutes. Donc, un beau bonjour en français à tous nos membres du Québec et de la communauté francophone de l'industrie du vin. Un beau bonjour. There you go. That's the little French segment here.
That is awesome. And you know what is exciting is Lauren is actually already on with us. Lauren from Hillside. Kathy's having a little tech trouble. So I'm thinking maybe we bring Lauren on and
Why not?
Give Kathy a call or something like that.
Why not? Why not? You're the tech specialist, Mira. I'm your employee at this point. You tell me what to do.
Okay. Here's Lauren. So nice to meet you, Lauren. See you, I mean. We've met Lauren a couple times because she's a local here now that we're locals, and we run into each other a couple times. So that's awesome. I'll just get you to go off of mute. And
hello, everyone.
Hi, Lauren. How's it going?
It's going great. Pardon my squinting, but I'm sitting right in the sun here in my backyard.
That's awesome.
I love it. I love it. Same here. I have the shade here. Yes. I'm in the backyard as well in our home office, right behind the big tree that you see behind me, Lauren. We can see Hillside Winery right from here in Trout Creek, Summerland. So I know that you know the area very well. So I thought about chopping off the tree today so we can see the winery, but I thought I might have some backlash from that. So.
Yeah, that might not look too good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here, and Carl's really said some great things about our wines, and it's a pleasure to work with Kathy, our winemaker. That's for sure. We're just trying to get her actually on board here. She lives in the village of Naramata, so sometimes the Wi-Fi is semi-spotty there.
Depending on which way the wine is blowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Hey, Kathy's actually on now. We can bring her on in one sec. Vicky makes a great point, though. She tried last year's Muscat Ottonel.
Uh-huh.
And so, Carl, she's saying, how is it compared to last year?
How's it compared to the 2019? I will say the 2020 has a little bit more tropical fruit into it, maybe a tad more texture, a little warmer vintage. 2019 to me was the quintessence of the elegance of a vintage. So the real purity of fruit, especially in terms of white, is a little bit more florality in the 19. That 2020, a little notch fuller body, but the definition of fruit in that one is just like a little plush, like it's plush, it's generous, it's a little bit more tropical. Lauren, would you agree with my description here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those varietals. I mean, I'll admit, before I came to Hillside, I wasn't overly familiar with it, and a lot of folks, they think of Muscat and they think overly sweet, but the Muscat Ottonel, it's really quite beautiful. Kathy always describes it as, it truly is kind of like spring in a glass. Like, it's just sort of like fresh flowers, fresh linen, like all these very fresh flavors. And it's surprisingly, I know that when we were doing our training earlier in the year, we were kind of going back and forth on what to pair it with. And, you kind of think, aromatic grapes, maybe the spicier foods, the stronger flavors. But what they actually found is that it goes beautiful with like a green salad or, something like that. So it's really kind of interesting to see how that works with the different foods. But yeah, this year is beautiful. Tropical, as Carl said, fresh, juicy, definitely not sweet in any way. So yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure. Kathy does a beautiful
and you know what's also very surprising, Lauren, is when you look at the technical sheet, there's that 8.9 gram of residual sugar at the end on the RS category. But this is such a number. Sometimes it can derail your thought process, because 8.9 in RS on its own can sound a little bit sweet, but when you add that beautiful bright acid in here, it's just counterbalanced. That's why I got that crunchy ginger to me. Like that sweetness will turn into bright, spicy acid. It's just like so much fun and so much explosion.
We always joke at the winery, well, sort of a joke, but it's kind of true. We always say nobody does balance like Kathy Malone, because truly her wines are, like you say, it's balanced, right? Looking at numbers on the paper, it's not necessarily a great interpretation of what the wine's going to taste like in the glass. But Kathy always says to me, she makes wines in the style that she likes to drink, which is, true to varietal, very fresh, very clean. And so, yeah, that's one of those things we always joke. We say, oh, balance and Kathy Malone. Those are two wines that are two words that are synonymous with each other.
Lauren, so, you're the wine club manager. You're the wine club manager at Hillside, and I know that next week you guys have a big week coming up. You guys have 1,500 wine club member, correct?
We do. Yeah.
This is a really, really tour de force here. You guys are one of the best wine club in the country. What makes your wine club special?
So one thing that I personally love about our wine club, I mean, free shipping is a bonus, because who doesn't love free shipping, especially in this day and age? But I love the fact that we truly do have, several wine club exclusive wines. So I know that, some wineries will do certain exclusive things, but they're not entirely exclusive. We do have truly exclusive wine club wines. So we've got our Cabernet Franc, which actually just won Best of Class in the Alberta Beverage Awards, which was pretty amazing. We have a Malbec. We have a Sauvignon Blanc. We have, several club exclusives as well that, they really, they make the wine club special, because you truly do get access to something that not everybody does. The Cabernet Sauvignon is another beautiful one as well, that is actually included as part of Carl's package if you'd like to use it as an add-on. So yeah, this Cabernet Sauvignon that Carl has, this is a wine exclusive. And what's really cool about this wine is actually, believe it or not, Cabernet Sauvignon can be grown in Naramata. And from what we're told, this is actually some of the first Cabernet Sauvignon vines that were planted in all of BC by Mira, who was our founder. So pretty cool. You know I was quite shocked to know that Cabernet Sauvignon can ripen and you know, do its thing in Naramata. Sure enough, it can. So this beauty
Lauren,
is...
come on, let's put it that way. Cabernet Sauvignon as a third grape in the Bordeaux blend. Yeah, okay, that's fine. 100% single vineyard?
Absolutely.
Holy moly, you guys are pushing the envelope pretty darn right up there. So it's pretty special. We tasted it with a few other winemaker last week, and I had some like, whoa, where's that? Oh my God. And you look at the 11.8% alcohol, like this is finesse in the bottle. This is elegance. Yeah, it was really, really intriguing. Absolutely.
I think it really speaks to the true Naramata style, right? And that's what Kathy is so passionate about, which is also a really great, you know, a great thing to be able to present to our club members, is that our wines are 100% Naramata Bench grown and raised. So, you know, it allows us to really sort of pinpoint a certain style and really kind of make our mark that way. So it's very exciting to work with wines such as that.
Yeah, there's a beautiful lineup of wine that you're working with, that's for sure. Mira, where are we on your side?
So I just want to say that Kathy is here, and I'd love to bring her on.
Yay!
Why not? Why not?
Hey, Kathy Malone, good to see you.
Hi. I'm not sure what there's left for me to say. I think Lauren said it all. She's all my lines, all my best lines she's already used. So,
well, you know, maybe we can start, Kathy, because I know you've championed the Naramata Bench as a wine growing area for a long time. You've been working that terroir for a long time. And I think I've heard people say that they've heard you say it's one of the best places to grow grapes. So tell us why, what makes the Naramata terroir so special? What's so different?
Well, you know, I've had experience with fruit from up and down the valley, because I worked at a large producer that sourced fruit from all the way from Lake Country to the border, basically, right? So I've kind of seen it all. What I find in Naramata is that with the combination of our growing conditions and the soils seems to be ideal for almost every variety, which is really unusual. So, you know, for instance, Pinot Noir in the South Okanagan in a warm year is pretty ordinary. It's too warm, right? And conversely, in a cool year, it's lovely from the South Okanagan. But from the North Okanagan, it's really challenging. You know, it just doesn't get right. Whereas Naramata is just, you know, the best of both worlds, right? You know, we're able to get it perfect ripeness in both types of seasons, right? I mean, you know, this season may be a bit challenging, but yeah, what you can see.
Don't steal my segment, Kathy. I'm keeping at least 5 minutes to talk about this year's growing season.
Yeah, okay.
Because this one was really challenging, and I want to hear your point of view on that.
Yeah, show that picture again.
Yeah, I don't know where it's taken from, but
so yeah, a vineyard.
There you go.
Most of the Naramata Bench looks like this. So what you see is, you know, we've got this proximity to the lake, right?
Yeah.
And so what that does is it mediates the temperatures both in the winter and the summer. So we don't get killing frosts the way you can in Oliver, which is not right next to a large body of water. And then in the summer, you know, when we get those really intense temperatures, it can simmer that down a little bit too, right? And then we also have a western aspect to the sun, right? So we get the last you know, rays of afternoon and evening heat, which is really, really critical later in the season when you're getting into that you know, that period of time where you're ripening the tannins in the reds, right? You need that hang time, but you need warmth in the vineyard, you know, for sort of that critical chemistry to be happening. So That, and then, you know, we have the soils. So what you could see also in that picture was the incredible bluffs that
Yes.
were formed by.
And you can see them behind Carl.
Yeah, that's right. You can see him IRL there. Yeah.
I actually wanted to say, like, look, you see this little layout of the bench. The bench is on top there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that little thing at the bottom that's jutting out, that little like.
That's you. Yeah, that's you. Totally, it is.
We're like right on that little tip there. That's where we are right now.
You need to put a little flag there.
Yeah, exactly. Carl's Wine Club or the Canadian. Yeah, like our little like wine glasses with the Canadian flag. This one.
Yeah. You
so
are
everyone
here.
can see us.
Yeah. So those cliffs were formed during the last glacial period. And so during that period, an ice dam was formed. Oh, put the map of the whole valley up again.
Like this one, right?
Yeah. So if you see where it says Corkscrew Drive, right? So
that's hard to see, but way down at the bottom there.
Yeah. So right at the start of Oliver, right there was an ice dam that formed at McIntyre Bluff. And what it did was it flooded the entire valley so that all like these lakes that you see, these 3 lakes, were all joined into one, right? What it doesn't show Vaso Lake. Maybe we're not down far enough for Vaso Lake. Anyway, it raised the lake level up to the level of the bluffs. Well, actually, to the level of Naramata Road. So Naramata Road was what was the shoreline.
It was the beach.
The road wasn't there. The road wasn't there, but it was the shoreline of Glacial Lake Glacial Lake Okanagan. And so the vineyards that are below the road were actual lake bottom at that time. And then the vineyards along the bench that were above the road were subject to seasonal flooding, right? So there's a lot of, below the road, there's a lot of clay and silt sort of deposits. And above the road, there's gravel and some silts, right? And you can really pick up that character in the wines, right? But I don't think it's just a matter of flavor. I think that it also gives us a really, really nice balance. I know you were talking about balance earlier, but it gives us, a good acidity and a low pH. And when you have that situation, you tend to have really sound fruit, right? Which means that you can do things like cold soak forever almost, right? And that's where you're getting like the really nice sort of fruit presence in the mid palate of the reds, right? And then, at the end of the ferment, you also have a really good balance. You have a good acidity, and that makes the wines more sound in barrel and, just sort of throughout their life. Gives them a lot more aging capacity as well. So
aging capacity is one thing, but if you have, which of the grape varietal you would say, Kathy, is the most consistent from the bench? Is it the Merlot? Would it be the Viognier? Would it be which one? I think there's probably one you can see like every year, you know exactly what you're going to get from, if you can compare the 19 vintage to the 2020 vintage, you always know that you're going to get a consistent result with one particular grape varietal.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, I would say Merlot, as you said, except that, we have 3 single vineyard Merlots that are quite different one from the other. And, they're different year to year, but they're good year to year, right? There's years when we've had really cool years. I'm like, oh my God, the reds are, going to be a disaster. This is going to be so hard. And they were solid, right? They always seem to pull through. So yeah, I guess Merlot for reds. I would never say Pinot Gris because it's the other heartbreak grape, right? You can get the same issues that you get with Pinot Noir, very vintage specific. And Viognier can be really challenging. In a cool year, the acid is through the roof, right? So that can be difficult to work with. You know what? It's probably Gewürztraminer, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot.
You
So
can have that in your next pack.
yeah, yeah, we'll put that one on the list because you know what, you have a portfolio that I can do it 2 weeks back to back.
Well, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the single vineyard series because to me it's something who it's very unique to you guys. You work a lot with very specific grower across the bench, and you have some stunning wines made with the same grape varietal, especially Merlot. I have in front of me here a wine that I was extremely impressed with. Is a Dickinson Merlot from the 2016 vintage. This wine in particular, but also the whole philosophy behind the single vineyard series.
Yeah, well, where that started was, when I first came to Hillside, I was interested, the first year I was just interested in, why the heck are we able to make big reds from the Naramata Bench? I mean, in my former life, we thought, anything south of, or anything north of Oliver was, white grape territory, right? And
South Angelo crushed that belief pretty quick. South said, screw that, I'm going my way.
Exactly. Well, and Vera was the same way too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So, the good old buddies.
But I did, and I didn't know Vera then, right? So I've only come to know her since. So so I spent the first summer going, okay, now I get it. It's that late afternoon heat, it's just the just perfect conditions, that we're lucky to have, right? But then I wanted to see if there was something special about the Naramata soil. So I did a series of barrel tastings, because we keep these wines separate. We keep every block, every vineyard separate, throughout most of its time in barrel, right? And we only, sort of do the blending, the final blending before bottling kind of thing. And so I was able to take barrel samples from 4 different Naramata vineyards, and we were still sourcing some fruit from the Black Sage Bench, right, in Oliver. So we had a Merlot from there, right? And so I took it on the road, like we had tastings with the Vancouver Wine Appreciation Societies, and the Opinion people, and it was kind of like a Sesame Street episode. One of these things is not like the other, right? And because the Oliver fruit was so obviously different from the other 4, right? I mean, they were all beautiful Merlots, but and the Oliver was like sort of a benchmark Merlot flavor, deep plum kind of flavors, right? But the Naramata wines had, just an additional sort of interest in there. So a little bit more flavor, or maybe, I don't know, I want to say a little bit more sophistication, right? And
more depth and complexity, I would say.
Yeah. And so, in doing that, we fell in love with all of the blocks, all of the Naramata blocks, right? So that first year, it was 2010. It was the 2009 vintage that we did it with, right? And so in 2010, we bottled Hidden Valley Merlot and a Joas Vineyard Merlot, and it just grew from there, right? We just love it. I have some tanks in the winery that are 800-liter tanks, and so when I do the blends and we're finishing the wine, I can keep it in full tank. So 2 of those tanks ends up being about 200 cases. So that's why everything's 200 cases or less, right? It works out to 8 or 9 barrels, right? And
yeah, this to me, that Dickinson, it's probably one of the later addition in your single vineyard series. It's a younger vineyard, but darn that it delivers some ripe fruits.
Yeah,
I know it's 16 vintage, so a little like typical from the 16, but darn, I got like that classic darker plum, a little bit like
cassis.
Absolutely. That's what I wrote in my tasting notes as well. Yeah, almost the creme de cassis at the end.
Yeah. And, you get that actually in the grapes, and that's unusual. Like, most wine grapes don't really taste like the wine, you kind of have to make a leap of faith, right? And there's cool years where I've said, oh yeah, we're not going to have it. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be more herbal, yada, yada, yada. And then taste them like, yep, it's there. It's a stunning vineyard. So it's about halfway between Hillside and Naramata Village.
Okay.
And it's on the lower side of the road. So the lake bottom side of the road. And it sort of goes, from the road down to the top of one of those bluffs that you saw in the picture, right? And then, then which just drops off to the lake there. Yeah, it's further down the lake from that, but this is kind of what it looks like. The rows are planted though, sort of perpendicular to the lake, and yeah, it's just a sweet spot for Merlot for sure. So then the Merlot, the Hillside Merlot that you have in the pack is kind of, the rest of the Merlot that doesn't go into the single vineyards, right? Because we make a lot more than 200 cases worth. I picked the eyes out of that for the Mosaic.
Yep.
I picked the eyes out for the Mosaic first, to be honest, right?
Oh yeah.
And then the Hillside Merlot is basically, what everything that's left pretty much, right? We have one more vineyard that we have never featured that it's maybe 20, I'm hoping 2022 we'll do a single vineyard. It's partly because the growers are named Pat Bowen and Carl Bogdanoff. And for years I've been saying, I'm not putting Bowen Bogdanoff on a label. So come up with a vineyard name, right? And so they came up with the best vineyard name. They've named it Occhi Dolci, which in Italian is sweet eyes, but it also means like a pretty view, but it also means a flirt. Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, come hither look, right? Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited to put that on a wine bottle, to be honest. So hopefully in 2022 we'll add that one. Anyway, so the Hillside Merlot is all of those vineyards, and so it's a really nice, generous blend, right?
Well, $24. When we talk about value, that's what I noted in my tasting. That's for that price. Let's be honest here. 2022 with the everything has cost so much more right now that it used to 5 years ago. We don't have a ton of wine at $24 anymore, especially at that quality with sub-GI designation. Woof, these are not, there are not too many out there. So, and it's classic Merlot.
Yeah. Yeah. So our president, Duncan, calls it his Monday to Thursday Merlot. and then I don't know, then his Friday to Sunday Merlot, it varies between the three single vineyards for sure. Yeah.
Well, we had the chance to work with the 14 Mosaic, and now we are switching to the 2015 Mosaic. So now switching from single vineyard to the flagship of what Hillside is. This is your Bordeaux blend. How your Mosaic has evolved through the years, because you've been here now for what, 15 years, Kathy? Almost.
Yeah, I started in 08, so 14
so
years.
You've been working with the bench fruit for a long time. Know all of the growers, the terroir better than anyone. How does your Mosaic, your flagship wine, has evolved throughout the years?
Well, I mean, part of that evolution, it has to do with the age of the vines, right? Like the Howe vineyard is a fairly young vineyard too, the Cap Sauv vineyard. And so, there's years where the early years, there couldn't be too much Cap Sauv in it because, it didn't have sort of the depth that you want the Cap Sauv to add to a Bordeaux blend, right? And then over the years, it developed enough that we also could do a standalone Cap Sauv, right? And so, that's partly what dictates it. I do barrel trials every year, with all of them. I try to put all of the components into different new barrels and new barrel makers, and And then again, you know, I pick the eyes out of it when it comes time to make the blend. And so the blend really changes over the years. Like the percentage, there's no formula for the percentages, right? It's all on taste. I try to make enough options for myself, right? That, you know, it's the palate is, or like the, when I say palette, I'm thinking of an artist palette, right? Is full, right? I can work with any whatever I want, right? And so, but I mean, in terms of the evolution, you know, when I first came to Hillside, the Mosaic was 100% Naramata Bench fruit. That had started in 2006. So before that, they had some Oliver fruit because, you know, some of those varieties are hard to source on the bench. But we had a small planting of Muscat Ottonel that's up above the KVR trail. And and they grafted it over at some point. Well, in 2004, they grafted it over to, no, they realized it was a really hot spot, right? And because it was ripening at least 2 weeks before the other Muscat that we had. So they grafted it over to Malbec and Petit Verdot. It's just a tiny little strip of a vineyard. Like we get sort of a barrel's worth of each every year. But since 2006, we were able to create the Mosaic from 100% Naramata Bench fruit, right? Then in, I don't know, it says my camera was unplugged, but I'm not touching anything, so it's not me.
That's okay. That's okay, Kathy. I love the story, so we're all good. Oh, maybe she did touch something.
They got disconnected somehow. Oh, Kathy, that's all right. Maybe she can try again, and we'll let her back in as soon as it comes.
Is Lauren still here?
We still have Lauren on. And I love Kathy's stories. Holy crap. You can tell how much she immerses herself in her craft, hey?
It's so funny because the last time this happened, we did a virtual dinner with Kathy not too long ago, actually, for our club members. So that's another little bonus that you get as a club member at Hillside, is that we do virtual tastings after our club shipments so that you can, you know, sort of go through the package with the winemaker kind of thing. And then we also do a virtual, you know, we did a virtual dinner party just a couple weeks ago with our chef, Evan, who is, you know, the executive chef at Hillside.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic chef. So he joined us. We sent out some meal kits to everybody. And yeah, it was a really fun time. So we all gathered actually at our wine shop manager, Joel's apartment, downtown Penn. And Kathy and myself and Joel, we all had dinner and, you know, ate with everybody. But the funny thing was, on this technical difficulties situation, so we went to turn up the volume on Kathy's computer as we were doing the virtual tasting. And all of a sudden, the computer died. And Kathy said, "What did you do?" I said, "I promise I didn't do anything. It was just horrible timing." So yeah. So I'm hoping that that didn't happen again, because I know she's just got her computer repaired. Poor girl.
Oh no.
You know, that's okay. My only thing, I wanted to talk about the 2021 vintage, for God's sake. I wanted to have her opinion on the bench. So any idea, Lauren? I will defer to you. I know that, like, for other...
This is the Merlot. This is the Merlot. What? 2 years ago when we were there, Carl. Hey?
Yeah. So, you know, what's funny is that, so where our staff parking is at Hillside, so we come up on the back end of the Gamay vines. That's where all of the staff parks. And it's like every day we're like driving slow past the vines so we can see if there's any color change. But actually we started seeing some. Oh, there's Kathy. There she is.
Am I sideways?
No, you're good now.
Yeah, I'm on my phone now. So yeah.
Oh, it looks great.
About the vintage. So I was just saying about how excited we were, like trying to eye for dark berry in the Gamay every day the last week.
Oh, that's hilarious. I was saying to Kathy, this was when we visited you guys a couple years ago, around, I don't know, maybe a week or two from now, but I bet it's not anywhere close to that quite yet, right?
No, but you know, I'm hoping that it will go quickly. Like Bloom was like that. Like Bloom this year, started with, there's a couple of blossoms, and then like 2 days later, the entire vineyard was in bloom, which wasn't the case last year. Last year it took like 2 weeks to get through, and Veraison was like that too. It took forever. And so I'm kind of hoping that now that, it's going to be kind of like blink, and it will all be red, and we'll be well on our way, right?
Well, let's recap a little bit, because I like to ask that question because just like last year was very challenging with the heat dome very early on. We had the forest fire. This year, oh, thanks God, we didn't have any forest fire. With one on the Kermios Creek as a big one, but yeah, there is so much rain in June. For us, the new we're just new local. We moved here 2 years ago, and I was like, oh my God, is it going to be like that every June? Right. So very late start, extreme rain in June. So how you guys are catching up right now?
Well, it's that we're in kind of a lag phase until we get into Veraison. We don't really have a sense of how quickly things are going, and we know that hang time is really important. So even it doesn't, we've had really solid heat rates, since the beginning of July, which is really good, and perfect heat. 30 in the 30s. It's perfect. It's exactly what vines love. But we need to have that warmth at the end of the season, because the fruit needs the hang time, the overall hang time, to create the flavors and colors that we're looking for, right? We'll get enough sugar. We always get enough sugar because, it's hot and sunny here, right? That's not the issue. So probably, what you're going to see is, hopefully wines of like normal alcohol levels, right? And then, nice flavors.
we all wish and hope for that, and definitely July was stunning. So great catch up on to get the vineyard started. August seems pretty nice too. So yeah, we're hoping for a long fall so we can develop all of these big red varietal, and makes it a very special and stunning vintage. Before I let you go, Kathy, I want to give a little shout out to Vera. I would like you to. This is our favorite wine. This is our family wine, the Muscat Ottonel. This 2020 vintage that we have here is my favorite since when I started, probably 2016, to taste the Muscat Ottonel from you guys. So what makes this little plot of land so special, so unique to Hillside, and what does it mean to you guys? Because I think this is a very, very, very special little place in the history of the Okanagan.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, Vera knew the grape coming from Czechoslovakia, and because it's quite popular in Eastern Europe. But that's great. We talked about that last time. Yeah. She actually sourced the vine cuttings from a backyard in Penticton, a guy who had a backyard vineyard, and he didn't know what it was. He didn't know what variety it was. She suspected that it was Muscat, but she wasn't sure, right? And so she propagated, and that's how that first vineyard plot was started. And then years later, the research station in Summerland was able to verify that it is Muscat Ottonel, which is
that's awesome.
Cool, and a relief, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it is, like Muscat is a huge family of grapes, and they're all floral and sometimes perfumey, but the Ottonel has a character that's unlike any of them, really. It's got just that freshness, that sort of hint of fennel. It's just such a pretty wine. It's really nice, and really versatile with food pairings, which I don't think that you would say with a typical Muscat, like a Muscat orange or a Muscat of Alexandria, right?
It's funny you mentioned fennel, because that is something we like to use a lot in Romania, and we have a lot of the Muscat Ottonel, and that's interesting. Sometimes that might be part of why maybe they pair well together. We'll have to see.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I'm looking for, when I'm tasting the fruit for ripeness too, right? Because you have like fennel leaf, and then all of a sudden, it's kind of more like celery, right? And then all of a sudden it's like fennel seed, and it's like, oh yeah, now we're getting
There
something,
you go.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're like the Muscat is probably, I don't know, 50% through veraison. If you pick, if you're careful with the grape that you pick off a bunch, there's Muscat flavor in there already.
Oh, cool.
So I'm really heartened about the potential for flavors for this year, right?
And
Knowing
Lauren's the wine club manager. I thinking that 2020 is almost at the end of the vintage, because I tasted this one like last year in October. So I'm expecting the 2021 maybe to be available pretty soon. What can we expect from the 2021? Come on, I want to have a little
Sneak
preview
preview?
here.
Yeah. You are actually in luck, because the upcoming fall shipment for our wine club has the 2021 Muscat in there.
Oh, yay.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Tasty.
And Carly, when you mentioned star fruit in the 2020, and I can tell you that the 2021 during fermentation, the tank just like that's what was coming off the tank was star fruit, and it was it's not just tropical, it was very specifically star fruit, and I've never sort of picked that up in Muscat before, right? So 21 was a pretty warm year. We had that heat dome, and I think that's I think you'll be interested to try it for sure.
Yeah.
I think I will maybe do a quick road trip to across the lake tomorrow, or very soon. Kathy, thank you so much for sharing your time with us after a long day. Greatly, it's always fun to catch up with you. It's always fun to talk wine with you. Your knowledge and your your wisdom when you talk about vineyards and winemaking to always make me a little bit more calm and a little bit more pause and listening instead of talking. So I appreciate your time, Kathy. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Lauren.
Thank you so much also for stopping by.
Such a pleasure as always. And I look forward to hearing what everyone thinks of their Hillside packs.
That's
exactly.
awesome.
But thank you so much, Lauren. Mira, go ahead.
And hopefully we'll stop by soon and do some fun things. We've been chatting, what can we do with Hillside? Because you guys have such an amazing setup there. You have all of the awesome wines. You have one of the most fun and wise and amazing winemakers. You have a great chef on site. I mean, we ate there twice this summer, and it was fantastic. Some of the best food in the whole of the Okanagan. So, yeah.
I love the idea of the virtual dinner.
Yes, absolutely.
I really like that idea. So,
let's keep chatting. And if our members, if you guys have any thoughts and ideas, what we can do with Hillside to kind of just get closer to you guys and do something fun together, let us know. We're looking for some brainstorming around that. So we'll chat soon
with you guys. So it's a pleasure, and we'd love to work with you some more as well.
Awesome. Thank
Lauren,
you.
enjoy the rest of your evening. It seems like it's the clouds are settling down a little bit, so we don't know what's going to happen in the next few hours. But enjoy your evening. Thanks for joining us. You guys rock. We love Hillside Winery. Thank you.
Love you guys. Cheers, Carl and Mira.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
So much fun.
Fun.
Ken says there's always a party going on. Yeah.
Always.
If we can help it.
Yeah. It was Kathy Malone, veteran winemaker at the Hillside Winery. We had Lauren. I don't want to butcher her last name. Selfridge?
Yes, I think so.
There you go. Boom. Wine club manager as well. So the team.
I think he said, is Chelan still there? And I think Chelan at one point, before she left, maybe she was in a different role. She might have been the estate manager for a little while, and now she's moved on. She's very happy. I see her on Facebook all the time. in a totally different kind of role. So we miss Chelan, and it's so good to have someone as energetic and awesome as Lauren connecting with us and with the wine club members at Hillside. So
Absolutely, because we've been connecting with Hillsides very early on when we started the club. We had that wonderful event at the Delta Marriott, Delta South, Calgary.
yes.
We've done we did. It was right in the heart of the pandemic. There was one place in the country where they were allowing gathering, and it was everyone in their own room. We were doing winemaker dinner via Zoom in the hotel, in a how's that called? That setting with the we were down in
Atrium.
Atrium.
It was like an atrium, and I gotta find it now. I'm gonna find it because that menu, it still makes my mouth water.
Yeah, so we were Atrium, everyone on their indoor balcony. We did the wine presentation from the bottom. The room service was the staff were bringing the food at the door of everyone. It was an awesome experience. So we did 4 of them, and Hillside was one of them. I remember we tasted the 14 Mosaic, the 19 Muscat Ottonel. We had the Cap Franc was available. It was the big hit that night. So Carl's Wine Club, Hillside Winery, we've been partnering since almost the very beginning of when we started. They're just awesome. They're just such a solid team. The wine lineup is fantastic. And when I look here at what we have this week, there's absolutely, for me, 3 absolute rock star wine. We're looking at, we already talked about it, the Hillside, the 2016 Dickinson Vineyard Merlot. To me, it's wow, absolutely incredibly wow. The classic Muscat Ottonel, another 92 points. If you like white with personality, with brightness and something a little different outside of the box of the regular Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, or whatever it can be your go-to, this is really unique and special. But when I say unique, it's not weird, geeky, overboard weird. No, it's just a little different. And
it has my vote, as you can tell by my empty glass. So.
Oh my God. You crushed it. And there's also another real rock star one, is the 2019 Syrah from one single vineyard as well. Not in the single vineyard series, but it's 100%. I think if I have here the name of the single vineyard, that would be great. Hidden Valley Vineyard. So yeah, I give it a 92 plus. This was just on the cost to make to my top 6 BC Syrah of the summer. So another great wine. So we have an outstanding lineup. That's what they do at Hillside, and it's so much fun. The Viognier. The Viognier was so crisp and so nice. One of the the 2 whites, the nose of these 2 whites are absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I really like working with them because I love the lineup and I love the team. So hopefully, and we have a real good deal on shipping this week compared to what we used to do with the seller. It's almost half price out there. So really good deal on shipping. You can get your wine across the country for a pretty good price.
Yeah.
So yeah, have you got your hand on the pictures of the dinner at the Delta South Marriott
What I
Calgary?
got was the menu, which is kind of hard to read there, but we paired the Pinot Gris with a prawn roll that I still remember to this day. It had this horseradish creme fraiche that went well with that Pinot Gris, like you wouldn't believe. We had the Pinot Noir, which is, we have the Pinot Noir in our pack this week.
Yeah, we sure do.
So that was paired with this ridiculously good smoked duck carpaccio, alpine cheese, buttermilk seed crackers, and fig puree. It was, something else. The Cab Franc, which we don't have in this week's feature because it is only for their wine club and they literally don't have enough to share outside of the
They're pretty stressed out at the winery right now. They're not sure to have enough to fulfill their whole thing. So yeah, we had a couple of special requests, and we usually we're usually able to fulfill pretty much all of the all of the special requests, but we couldn't do it with the Cap Franc this year, with the Hillside, unfortunately. But the Cap Franc was served, I think, if I remember correctly, Mira, it was with the tourtière.
You got it.
Was it?
Because this was all, it was actually the Cab Franc was, a rabbit tourtière.
Yeah.
With, it was Quebecois themed.
Yeah. There was French-Canadian team across the board. The general manager was a French-Canadian, good friend of mine, Brian, here. Kudos to Brian again. But yeah.
And then we had the Mosaic that night. I remember
that was the 14 vintage.
Braised short rib, pretty outstanding as well. And then my favorite, of course, was the dessert, because they paired that with the Muscat Ottonel with a pudding chômeur, which is kind of a caramel maple dessert. And it did pair really nicely. Anything I think pairs well with this wine because I like it. That's the Mira scale.
Well, we had that conversation with Lauren, right? We're talking about like nice fresh salad, garden salad, fruit salad. I like chilled prawn with that. They can be like with a little smoked salmon, because the bright acid of the Muscat. Like this is so versatile. It goes with and it goes very well with the 29 degrees late afternoon, sitting in front of your in front of your phone, talking to good Canadian wine lover. It absolutely pairs perfectly with that.
You're absolutely right. And I think I need more in my glass. So we should get on that.
Running. Oh, you know what? We have to stop the show right now. We have an emergency here in Summerland, BC.
You know what? I'm coming out to see you, okay? I'll be right there.
Perfect. Come on out, hot stuff. So yeah, Mira's coming out to get a little bit more of the 2020 Muscat Ottonel. That's funny because we're seeing the order coming in this week, and we have some people, especially one of our members in Quebec, ordered like 2 cases of 12. Like, give me 24 of them. This is my favorite wine as well. It's to me, and I'm not joking, it became it's our go-to white wine around here. Like I said, for versatility, price point, it's fairly complex. And hey,
I'm here.
Hello. So yeah, Muscat Ottonel, a little bit of that East European background here, and we love it. The wine is just so delicious. So what's coming up? What did let's do a little recap of what we've done the last couple days here in the wine business, because we had a couple of get together. We had a really cool Friday wine happy hour with some friends in Caledon last week. It was pretty cool. We tasted some of the Lake Boat new winery out of Caledon, BC. Some pretty cool stuff out of that. We tasted some pretty cool stuff from Chain Reaction. Actually,
it's brand new. Yeah.
I'm getting pretty impressed with what they're doing right now. It's pretty cool.
Brand new winery, and it's Chain Reaction means like it comes from a bicycle theme.
Yeah.
They're both bikers, cyclists.
Cyclists, yeah.
And it's right on a cycling trail. So what we're seeing is like we had a group of members come through July 1st for Canada Day, and there were about 23 of them.
Yeah.
Cycling. So we're like, you have to stop at this winery that is cycling themed.
Yeah. We did awesome. We did a little bit of touring with some members from Calgary as well. We had a stop at Upper Bench. We had a stop at De Silva, and we also had a stop at Moraine. So all of that was an absolute blast of an afternoon. What else that special happened in the wine, in our wine world in the last few days? I don't know. We're gonna go sit down with Cameron at Lunescence to taste a few new stuff at Lunescence on Friday, not tomorrow.
Oh, on Friday. Yeah. And then what we had yesterday was a shipping fiasco, in the sense that we accidentally shipped some wines to an old address that we moved from, like, in March this year.
So we were
no longer there. No one's living there right now. And
12 beautiful bottles of 13th Street Winery, including the new 2017 Première Cuvée, 2 bottles. They're in the wild. 12 bottle.
If anyone's seen them, let us know, because we sent them to the wrong address.
Sent me a text here. Some connection with Rainy Winery. That some wines are on their way. Can't wait to do some stuff with Rainy Estate Winery, a rock star small producer of Niagara. That's pretty exciting. Also, Bellaterra is finishing off their 2020 vintage bottling right now, and soon there's going to be a case of wine on its way to Carl's Wine Club office, aka right around here.
Yard.
The yard. So we're gonna start tasting the new stuff from Pondview Bellaterra. Yes, Vicky, the Viognier will be part of that list. I can't wait. You excited me about the new Viognier from Bellaterra, Vicky, so I can't wait to try it. What else? What's new? I don't know. That is pretty darn good. What's in my glass? I'll tell you one thing.
Very good. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I know what.
What?
We're still working with Bell Media around the idea of a series on Canadian wineries.
Yes.
And we are still in the fleshing out ideas phase. So if you have thoughts around a new series on Canadian wine, let us know, because there's so many fun things we can do.
Yeah. We're just bored. Like, I don't know, just thinking about different type of concept that we can put together, but it's something.
I think we got to start simple, and I think the first one is going to be something like going to, let's say, 8 of the wine regions and spending some time at some of our favorite
the
wineries.
best of each sub-region, get to Prince Edward County and sit down with Sherry Carlo and Sachs and bring other owner from around, bring a chef from around, and
then go
share.
out to my favorite, Nova Scotia,
Yes.
and have some lobster with their Tidal Bay wine.
There you go. Or let Beamsville Bench and sitting down with like 2 or 3 or 4 of their winemaker and just like talking about their region and the evolution of that region.
And tell me what you guys think. But part of the idea I had is, if we're going to go out and do that and have this amazing time, it'd be really fun to have some members there with us. So maybe we can have kind of a live audience as we're filming this thing, and we have spots for some members to join us, because that's my biggest regret when we go to a winery and we have these incredible experiences. I'm like how do we convey and share this incredible experience with others when they can't really be there in person? And so we tried our best to do that, but we could have some people in person. That'd be pretty cool too.
Always. Coming up next, couple weeks off. It's the end of the summer. We're planning a couple flash feature, a little bit more like regional type of flash feature coming up. Next week is off with still some Syrah pack available. I think we have 6 more Syrah pack available. My top 6 BC Syrah, all in one pack. Moraine 2019. Rust Okanagan Fall Vineyards 2019, Mount Boucherie Reserve 2019. We also have Lakeside Cellar Outstanding Value 2018 vintage, Maverick, the brand new pre-release 2020 Syrah, and that's it. That's 6.
I think that's 6.
That's 6. So there's no bonus pick on that one. So that's still available. There's 6. So yeah, that's what's going on. And Leaning Post coming for September 11. That's going to be our feature. I am so excited for Leaning Post. I think it's one of the top producer, very under the radar.
Out of Niagara.
Lincoln Lake Shore, if I'm not mistaken. But Leaning Post is coming in September. Also, Da Silva is one of our absolute favorites. So Silva
over on the bench over there.
Da Silva will be featured in September. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, before it starts, I heard lightning, I heard thunder, but there's also sun here. It's really confused weather. So we better go before it starts hailing or something. Hope you guys have a great night. Cheers.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll chat soon.